Hi everyone, I'm Mika Bacani. I'm an illustrator and designer based in Makati. I'm happy to be here for Design Dialogues at Home to talk about how I capture a brand's essence through illustrations. So I work in visual art and food. On most days, I'm an illustrator and designer for Lowbrow. My work there spans from branding to store artwork to little website illustrations. What sets us apart from other restaurant groups is our core team. We're mostly designers, so we're decked out like a little design studio. So a lot of thought and care goes into the visual aspect and UX of our brands. And my personal body of work is like a trail mix of different things. I've done editorial illustrations for magazines and websites, one children's book, comics, and some food drawings here and there. So today I'm going to talk about my process for capturing a brand's essence through illustration. If brands were people, they'd have their own personalities and values. I figured that out first. If a brand is bright or dark, loud or quiet, traditional or modern, casual or refined, and so on. I usually write these down and figure out where the brand is along the spectrum. They can also be like one or the other, but if they are in between, I like to plot out those little nuances as well. When I have that done, I figure out what illustration style would best work based on those values. I use my personal illustration style as a point of reference and, work from there. To me, the visual elements of an illustration can contribute to its overall vibe, so I see if I could change a few things like line quality or color palette, that's an easy one, to match the brand's vibe. It helps to have other people describe your style if you need that distance to figure it out. Like for my personal style, for example, I've heard some people describe it as light. This can be from the line weight, since I generally favor thin lines if I use them at all. And I also favor minimal and low contrast colors, so that works with the lightness too. So already I have 3 options for the style based on what I want to accomplish. The realistic style is what I use for portraits. It's my default when I need to capture the likeness of someone and pin it down through an illustration, so I rarely use it for work. What I usually work with is the stylized, simple version, and I can grow that some more if I ask more questions like, will this illustration be more decorative or will it be more instructional? When it's decorative, like an artwork on the wall, you can go crazy with that. But if it's an illustration that needs to instruct, you gotta turn down the crazy a bit, and you need it to be super clear with very little visual clutter. So symmetry, a consistent line weight, and basic details can help with that. And if it's going to be printed out, you need to be economical with your use of color too. Medium is another thing. I usually favor hand-drawn illustrations over vectors because they feel warmer and more energetic for me. So vectors have their own use too. They're not inferior in any way. And illustrations drawn traditionally and digitally have their own vibes too, right? I'm usually a digital illustration person, but I'll render with colored pencils when I need a bit of teeth or grit in the line quality, or in watercolor if I want something more loose. With brands, you might need to create different versions of your illustration to suit its many needs. In restaurants, for example, the illustration style I'll use for the artwork will be different from what I'll use for packaging or the uniforms, mostly because of the printing limitations. So about work, Lowbrow as a brand is pretty irreverent and unafraid to be dumb or silly or make fun of itself, and it's important for me to capture that spirit. My favorite illustration for Lowbrow has to be the store artwork that I made for Bad Bird Mega Mall. I worked with the brand's essence of being dark and energetic, plus the character of Bad Bird, who was basically Godzilla if it were a giant chicken. So this artwork is inspired by traditional cockfighting paintings and manga. There's two bad birds fighting, destroying a building that looks coincidentally like Mega Mall, and one is shooting a laser beam, because why not? Style-wise, it's super different from what I usually do. It was extra challenging and exhausting, to be honest, to finish it. So for the artwork at Bad Bird Surrendra, which was the branch that came after Mega Mall, I tried making my personal style work. Like the Mega Mall artwork, I wanted something dark and strong, except this one is a little more abstract visually on account of my personal style. There's still a bad bird monster, there's still destruction. I added red to really make it pop in the dining space, and I like how it's a different approach visually, but still pretty brand appropriate. Another project I wanted to share is the illustrations that I did for the Lowbrow website. This was super fun to do because I went full dumb with them. I wanted to communicate the joy of being in a restaurant, so it's all very optimistic, cheery, and happy, but also like pretty dark in terms of the color palette. Restaurants are more fun with more people, so I made sure to draw pairs and groups of silly characters just hanging out. I basically made a lot of sketches and picked out the ones that made me laugh, so that was fun. In the process of figuring out the brand's essence, I involve keywords in my process because the goals of an illustration become much clearer that way. If you match your work to the surface level visual aspect of a brand, that's perfectly fine and you will not die, but it might limit what you can come up with. And if you're thinking with words and abstract ideas, you make more space for more ideas to pop in. I get inspired by all sorts of random things. I'm generally attracted to strong shapes and images that carry a sense of movement or velocity. Fashion really does it for me, so does architecture, and even dance videos make me want to draw. It's actually my favorite way to warm up or, decompress in the middle of a project is to put on a dance video and draw along. And sometimes I'll be outside and I'll see a stranger with a great outfit and I'm like, I need to draw that right now. My usual work setup is an iPad in the dining room, which is where I am. And my work PC is located right next to the bed, and I avoid it as much as I can unless I really have to work there because I end up taking a lot of naps. With an iPad, I can pretty much work anywhere, and that's what I love about it because I don't have a laptop on me. I just need 3 other things: my sketchbook, coffee or tea, and something to listen to. I cycle between music, podcasts, and ambient noise to keep my focus. I do my digital illustrations on Procreate. When I'm working traditionally, I work with ink, colored pencils, and watercolor. My style emerged when I stopped trying so hard to develop it. It's common advice to not worry about style because it emerges eventually and it just falls in your lap one day, I think. I didn't believe that at all when I was young, and I think a lot of young artists are skeptical of that too. So we spend our early years like brute forcing ourselves into whatever popular styles are there at the moment as like a shortcut to success. And I think style is about embracing your limitations as an illustrator and turning those into strengths or the hallmarks of your work. My work is abstract leaning and minimal in color because realism is not my thing and I'm really bad with color. And in the context of fashion, I read somewhere that to be stylish means to make rules and follow them. And I think that applies with illustration as well. It's to turn your limitations into the rules of your style. Another way to develop your style is to keep drawing, basically. Keep a sketchbook and fill it with drawings, with experiments, with zero pressure to make it look great. I keep a lot of sketchbooks and fill it with notes and ugly drawings. When I'm feeling stuck, I love drawing stupid shit. I keep drawing and drawing until I laugh and feel great about everything again. I love illustration and I'm committed to doing it forever, but on some days I would rather chop my own arm off than to draw another line, and I hate it. I take that as a sign to take a break and chill out. It helps to have other hobbies that you enjoy doing, plus points if you're good or okay at them. So if you fail at drawing, you can succeed in this other thing and feel good about yourself again. I could talk to you forever, but I'll wrap up here. I haven't talked to anyone in weeks, so this was fun, and my face might say otherwise, but I swear it's just my dead face, and I'm really happy to be here, so thank you so much for having me. If you have any questions, you can leave them at the comments below or wherever the comments are. We'll be posting an illustration exercise today, so you can try out the things that I rambled about and make something, and tag me at JuneMonsters and at @PH so we can check out your work. Thank you so much for watching. This is Mika from Makati, and this is Design Dialogues at Home.